Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for the 5th place final between New Zealand and Spain. Now, these two sides have quite a 50-50 type of battle throughout the last few legs. In terms of the results, it's never been so competitive as it is right now. And the Spanish side, they are currently sitting second in the overall standings, although with this 5th place or 6th place finish, there is potential that that might possibly change by the end of the competition. But Cody Vai, Narohi McGarvey Black, Sophie Maka, Tony Nashu, Dylan Collier, Amanaki Nicole, and Joe Webber will be the New Zealand starting 7. Coscuela, Manu Moreno, Joseph Ceres, Alejandro Laforga, Tobias Sainz Rapanga, Jamie Manteca, and Eduardo Lopez, the starting lineup for the Spanish. Now, Spain had a little bit of a roller coaster of a competition. They did lose their opening contest up against the Kenyans. Then from there managed to win the 2 other group stage fixtures to put them through to the quarters, where they went head-to-head with Fiji and lost in at golden point time. So overall, with how far they've made it, I think they'll be pretty happy with a 5th place. But also quite disappointed that they didn't quite get that win over the flying Fijians. For New Zealand, they started off the competition well, getting the wins in their group stage 3 from 3, but then losing to the French, who have made it through to the final. They will be facing Argentina in about 3.5 hours' time. But for now, the last game for these two sides just about to take place. We have got their free rice for Spain if they win. Says a Martin Meyer. But now this matchup just about to take place for 5th. So whoever wins this game, I believe, will get 12 points. And whoever loses will get 10. I believe that is how it works. So Spain will be looking for that minimum of 12. New Zealand, they aren't sitting too badly in the rankings, but they do need to start putting some big results together. Perhaps Singapore next week could be when they do find their momentum. But do, of course, let me know your score predictions in the chat, ladies and gents. Can Spain once again cause the upset and beat New Zealand for about the 4th or 5th time this circuit? Or will the Kiwis be able to get the job done? A very good afternoon, Hamish from Brisbane. How's it, mate? Doing very well, James. You have been enjoying all of the sevens and also rugby action throughout the weekend. The Australians through to the final in the women's sevens. The men playing off for the bronze up against Fiji in about 2 hours, 15 minutes. New Zealand, looks like they will be the team kicking off this matchup. So we've actually got a little bit of a break in between these next 2 games. Now New Zealand, they've got 7 days, or in fact less than that, probably about 5 days, to work out what went wrong for this league. Honestly, it wasn't a huge amount. They had some close games, but they were able to win them. And then just losing to the French on one of the final hurdles, nicely taken by Manu Moreno. And the Spanish will get the first possession of this 5th place final. On across to the left-hand side, Eduardo Lopez tries to step, but he's tackled low by Dylan Collier. A bit of pressure coming from New Zealand in the breakdown, and it has forced the error of Spain. Now knock on in favour of the Kiwis, so they will get themselves the scrum feed just outside of the Spanish 22. But as we have seen, and as Fiji proved, even if you do get yourself an early start up against the Spanish, 21 points up the Fijians were in that contest, and then only win it in the golden point. Spain have got a second half comeback style. My name is Max, says Country Guy in there. Would you prefer to be called Country Guy or Max? Do let me know. Going off to the left-hand side now for New Zealand. Nice offload up from Cody Vai. Goes to Webber, inside ball to Cody Vai again. And New Zealand, a minute in, will score themselves the try. France finished 3rd in their group. Argentina 1st in their group. They are meeting in the final. Shows how sevens is unpredictable when it's the cup final, says Tonian. Cup final will be taking place at 11:45 p.m. New Zealand time, so in 3 hours, 25 minutes. But something else I'll say, yes, it is extremely unpredictable because of the fact that those 3rd place teams can go through, but I do still feel like, 16 teams, top 2 go through to each of the quarterfinals. Should they do it like that next year? I know that they changed the setting or the layout of the comp, but we have talked about it quite extensively throughout the last couple of days. A lot of people don't like the fact that it's only the 12 teams. After this, can you go to Sky Sports 1? Says Sean, I assume that's the one that the NRL is on, is it? Or is it on Sky Sport. I think Sky Sport 2 normally has it, doesn't it? But then that might be only when Super Rugby Pacific has taken place. New Zealand were able to convert as well, I should mention. It's Jack's brother. I did not put that together. I didn't actually realise. So it's Max and Jack. But now going to be thrown in by La Forga. Nicely claimed by Sainz Trapanga for the Spanish. La Forga going off to Manu Moreno. Coscuela. Cross to Eduardo Lopez. Can't quite get through. Jamie Manteca joins the breakdown to stop Marca from getting the turnover. But it is another error from the Spanish in the breakdown. Just happening a few too many times throughout the early part of this game. I think Spain is in with a very good chance, but I hope New Zealand win. How long do you have after this before next stream, says Sean Johnson. Next stream that we are doing will be at 10:35 p.m. New Zealand time, I believe it is. Come on, New Zealand, going to keep Q Lads followers happy, says Amoa Hunters. Yeah, they will definitely be wanting a higher result than 5th next week. That is for sure. It's going to be an absolute stacked weekend of rugby next weekend. We've got that's going to be a knock-on Champions and Challenge Cup games that we are going to be covering. There's going to be the knock-on this time from New Zealand. And Warriors 6-0, says Hare Honi, so a good start. Their game up against the Tigers. And already we are a quarter of the way through this 5th place final. 2 handling errors from Spain, 1 from New Zealand. It's been a little bit stop-start compared to some of the games that we have seen today. Both sides, maybe a few nerves out there. At the end of the day, this has been such a 50-50. We have got the okay, can you do Sky Sports 1 after? Because it finishes at 10:30, says Sean Johnson. So I assume by Sky Sports 1 you're referring to the Warriors game, more than likely. It's been even good, says Max. They're a pretty solid side this year. They're finishing, or at the moment they were sitting second in the overall standings. They've made it through to more semi-finals than they ever have this year, and they're looking like a real contender. Like, honestly, they've made so much improvement from not even 12 months ago to now. They were in the relegation zone last year. They were on the verge of getting kicked out of the comp, but then they won their playoff game. I can't remember who they played, maybe Germany it might have been. That's Warriors versus Tigers, says Sean Johnson, although it would be very confusing for the people who are tuning in after the Sevens stream if we weren't even talking about the Sevens, of course. Now, going to be fed in by La Forga. Chance here for Spain round that halfway line. They wouldn't mind being able to fire back, although New Zealand having the big scrum. Joe Weber passes across the right-hand side. Nice step on the outside from Cody Vi. Eduardo Lopez gets fended off. Now Weber going to the left again. McCarvey Black goes over the head of Tony Nashu, but it sits up for Amanaki Nicole. Dylan Collier plays halfback. The same first name, Bud. Best spelling, says Tony in there. Joe Weber with the fend, offloads up. Once again, a little bit scrappy. Ball pops out. Sainz Trapanga, right place, right time. Spain back with the ball. It's going to be another penalty going the way of Spain. This has been an ugly first half between these sides. La Forga going away now. Joseph Ceres. Cross to the left-hand side. Coscuela. Eduardo Lopez waiting for it on the outside, but Coscuela cuts inwards. New Zealand defending 10 metres out from their line. Now back across La Forga. Nice pass in front of Manu Moreno. Plenty of momentum going forward. Goes off to Sainz Trapanga. Offloaded. Weber intercepts it. It's going to be a foot race. Manteca. In fact, Spain have actually got 3 men back now. Oh, Regan Weir tried to round the back pass. Goes forward by about 4 metres. Probably not the best plan. We have got there Sean Johnson. It is time to move on for the Rugby Sevens. And I thought you were about to say that you have the same first name and last name, says Sean there. But a bit of a slip there from Dylan Collier when he tried to defend. And then it goes into the hands of Weber, who went across. And in fact, it was Marker who tried the round the back rather than Regan Weir. Goes forward by quite some distance. Yo says Broncos for life. Welcome in. Now, the halfway line, it is going to be Spain with another scrum feed. Now, pops out the back door. La Forga Going to the right-hand side again for Eduardo Lopez. He is very close to the sideline. Laforga again. Onto the left-hand side. Goes to Sainz Trapanga. Manu Moreno. Trying to get around Collier. At the moment, both sides evenly matching each other. Not really creating too many line break opportunities. And more so just defending well enough. Oh, rush defense. Rushing up was Marca, but gets back to his feet for Laforga. And that has created a bit of a chance. No, he wasn't looking for it. Eduardo Lopez sits up for Manteco, goes through, passes on the outside, and it will be the Spanish try right at the end of the first half. New Zealand are making a bit of a trend at conceding last, and it will make the score more than likely at half-time, 7 points to 7. Wait, we happy in the quarterfinal? Says PSG, or what happened in the quarterfinal? New Zealand got beaten by France. They were up 14-0 to then go on to lose 21-14. When was the last time these two teams won against the Pumas? New Zealand beat Argentina not too long ago from memory, and then Spain have really struggled up against Argentina. Normally they do lose by quite a substantial margin. In fact, I think Argentina might be one of the only sides in terms of the top 6 at the moment that Spain haven't been able to beat, which is why they find themselves in second rather than first. But it's going to be half-time. That kick is actually missed from Spain. So it'll make the score at 7 points to 5. Did you know the Wires are live? You stream the match again. Says a Bronco. Yeah, see, that's the thing. They have so many overlaps, the Warriors, in terms of the Super Rugby games, unfortunately. Which does mean that, like, as much as I want to, I would be more, I guess, annoyed that I wasn't able to do all of those games, if that makes sense. Did you hear about Rugby League Live 5? I did. Sounds like there's going to be hopefully a Rugby League game by the end of the year. But we'll have to wait and see. Rugby 25 is a little bit broken at the moment, so hopefully Rugby League Live 5, if they are going to be releasing it, and it's the same company, it will be that little bit better. Now second half, not a mile away from it taking place, and going into the second half extremely even. Now I will mention that kick did actually miss from the Spanish, so the score actually sits 7 points to 5 rather than the 7-7 that we can see there. Sainz Trapanga having quite an impact throughout that first half. Laforga seems like he's well and truly in control. Can you stream the match tonight? Says Broncos for life. The match, it did already start a wee while ago. I think they start at 8 o'clock, so it would be a bit strange to go in halfway through it rather than covering the whole match. There's a monkey in charge of the scoreboard. Says Bruce. Currently we've got the Sky Sport Now logo here. I hope that that's just going to be shown during halftime. Normally they would have ads, but maybe they ran out of them. So just waiting for the second half to get back underway. Those rolls of flames are catching up on fire. Says Country Guy. Second half getting very close. Off the bench. It started at 8:15 New Zealand time. Okay, so they're about 15 minutes in at the moment. So they'll be a good quarter, if not maybe a bit closer to a third of the way through the game. By the time this one comes to an end, off the bench for New Zealand, they've got Regan Ware, Sione Molia, Brady Rush, Frank Vainuku and Andrew Newstub, Jamie Mata, Trevor Thick, Paul Pla and Juan Ramos, all men of a notable name off the bench, as well as Bozil. And also we have got the, that was a song, says Max. I wonder if the second half has got underway, because if it has, Sky Sport Now have not kicked it back in. Oh no, there we go. I think we're back in now. New Zealand have got themselves the possession, and also they have got Joe Weber in the bin for the next kind of minute 20 or so after the early infringement in the second half. But now ready to throw this one in for Narohi McGarvey Black. And it'll be nicely taken by the All Blacks 7, sitting around the halfway line. Big bump off from Cody Vai. Probably been one of the better players out there on the field for New Zealand throughout this leg of the Sevens. Okay, French coach is pretty much, or sorry, Spanish coach pretty much just saying we're just concentrating on trying to score some tries. We have got their Amish, listen very carefully. If you don't watch out in Rugby 25 Hurricanes career mode, the other teams will get better. Yeah, I feel like I should be actually rushing to try and get it finished like in terms of those playoff games before they end up bringing out too many updates. Because as soon as they start making the AI harder, I think we'll start losing on the hardest difficulty. So I should probably try and win the title before I, end up losing it because of the adjusted AI. Now, nice front four from Tony Nyashu. That's going to be knocked down by Jamie Manteka, but it will be play on. And Dylan Collier will now score the try for New Zealand. 5 minutes remaining in the clock. Right, and Roy McGarvey Black's trying to ask whether or not it is a deliberate knockdown warranting a yellow card. So they are happy with the try. And it is going to now make the score in favour of New Zealand. 14 points to 5 with a nice easy conversion on the card. Still in Collier. Can you string some of the Wars match? Sears Broncos for life. Well, I'll have a look and see how far through, but we won't be doing like a whole heap of it, mainly because we've already probably done 20 hours of live streaming throughout the last couple of days. We did an all-nighter last night. So we probably need some sort of break. Plus, we've still got more sevens later on tonight, and I know people would be annoyed if I lost my voice doing that. It is going to be a yellow card for Jamie Manteka for it being knocked down. So your Rugby 25 upload. So apparently, do love kids lol, says Tony. And yeah, George often just says not so much what's on his mind, but random sentences. And sometimes we can't keep a straight face during them. See, that's the thing. Like, you guys couldn't see face cam for that video, but like at one point, I had to cut out a piece because he pretty much just went up the hallway. He just left and came back like 20 seconds later. But now chance here for Narohi McGarvey Black. Kicking the ball up high nicely. Oh, really well done from Manu Moreno. He wasn't initially going to be taking that ball as they did send up a lifter, or send up a jumper, in fact. Now going off to the left-hand side. To the middle of the field. Coscuela. Oh, that was a tip tackle. Accidentally by Mako. I want to say it was accidental, but may not have been. Now Trevor Thick made his way onto the field. Spain currently playing with 6 men on the park, so they have to make sure that they do score relatively soon. Joe Weber looking for the turnover. Falling the wrong way was the Spanish player. Who's player of the match at the moment? I don't think there's anyone who's really crazily stood out. Like Cody Vai's gone all right throughout this game, I would say. Now Tony Nyashu gets the ball, offloads it away to Narohi McGarvey Black, passes one more out to Cody Vai, finds Marker on the outside, and with the sin bin of the Spanish New Zealand strike, and now get more of a lead. Marker slapping his chest. You'd think he was playing off in some sort of one that had a medal on the line. I'm an idiot, go Aussie, as Aussie versus Spain. Says Broncos. Australia are going to be playing Fiji, and that is in about just 2 hours time. It's when that one will be taking place. Good finish from Marker. Now, kick from the sideline does not go over for New Zealand. 3 minutes remaining in this first half, and the score is 19 points to 7. So still plenty of time for the Spanish to come back, just like they did in their game up against the Fijians. Although they didn't come back to win that game, so they will need 2 converted tries to get them back to a chance at a golden point game. Now Roy McGarvey Black ready to kick this one off. Jamie Manteka is only moments away. Making his way back on to the field. Going up for that was Amanaki Nicole. Got a lot of the Spanish player in the process. However, they lay off the Meflo, says Tonian. It's over now, New Zealand win, says Bruce. Spain in position with Eduardo Lopez. Across to this left-hand side, Ole. Says Danielle, chance out wide, plenty of pace shown off, throws it back on the inside, and it's gone straight to Sione Molia. Now Vainuku goes across to Sione Molia. In fact, it's Amanaki Nicole, Brady Rush. Another big pass across. Chance again for Sione Molia. Spanish defence, yes, they've conceded 3 tries in this one, but they've actually been pretty handy. 19-5 or 19-7, 19-5. So they did miss their first conversion for the Spanish. So that is why they have only got their 5. Manteka's yellow card would be up as soon as we do have a stoppage in this second half, but it doesn't seem like that's coming for a little bit of time unless it is for a try. Sione Molia looks for the offload. Spain knocking it backwards. Oh, that's not a knock on. In fact, that is far from it. Juan Ramos, probably fair enough to be frustrated there. It's gone about a metre back when he had it in his grasp. We're about to see the replay here from Ramos, unless I was just being extremely harsh here. Was this nowhere? No, see, that's travelled back for Juan Ramos. Yes, he's dropped it, but it's gone back towards his own goal line. 90 seconds left in this matchup for 5th, and at the moment it does look like New Zealand should have it secured. Quite even in the carries department. 24 for New Zealand compared to the 22 of Spain. 45 passes compared to 35. So the Spanish have had their hands on the ball quite a bit, but New Zealand defending well, stopping that line break opportunity. New stub. Goes back across to Naruhi McGarvey Black now. Chance in the middle of the field for Regan Ware. He'll pin his ears back. He might be caught by Jamie Manteke. He tries to stop him from scoring it, but he still gets it down. And New Zealand, they get themselves another. I think that this is a little bit of a statement made by New Zealand here. They'll be frustrated that they got knocked out after being undefeated in their group. It was actually one of the best groups that we've seen from New Zealand in quite some time. But in the end, they weren't able to go any further in the comp than if they had lost 1 or 2 games. Now, chance here for the conversion. I believe it is missed. So 24 points to 5 now with 30 seconds remaining. Going to be kicked high. Nice. Ooh. Yep, regather from the Spanish. It's over for Spain. Yeah, it does look like New Zealand have got this one, but Spain can still get themselves a consolation try. Big bump off of Brady Rush. Now off to Paul Pla. Interesting choice not to give that man a huge amount of game time here, but I believe the mindset for the Spanish was to just give a few new guys an opportunity. That's another tip tackle from New Zealand. Luckily, Paul Pla lands safely. Manteka goes off to this left-hand side, down the wing. Trevor Thick tries to keep the ball alive, but he was in touch, and I think that is after the full-time siren. Yes, it is. And Kia ora, Hamish, says Danielle there. New Zealand are showing off now, says Bruce, but they have got themselves the victory over Spain. 24 points to 5. O's Club Moananu play for in France. Ma'anonu, that is. Sorry, Moananu, of course, is the Crusaders hooker. I think he's going to be playing for... I'm going to have to Google it quickly because I cannot remember. But I know that if he plays this weekend, he's going to be the oldest player to ever play in the top 14. I believe it was. Or maybe oldest player to make a debut. But he's at Toulon. So we'll have to wait and see how he goes and how many minutes he finds himself with. Fiji versus Australia in the bronze final in 2 hours' time. Says Tonian. Yep, that is going to be the next match we have got on the channel alongside the women's final between New Zealand, and they will be going up against the Australians, and then the men's final will be Argentina versus France. I never know who is on the other end of the internet, says Tonian. Oh, there you good, you are talking to a kid, says Blues Nate. And there's well, I'm pleased, can you live the final? We are going to be doing the live stream for the final, as well as the bronze medal final between Fiji and Australia, and both women and men's finals. Watch car windows at the traffic light, says Tonian. Yeah, so New Zealand will finish 5th, Spain will finish 6th, and then in terms of 7th and 8th, played off. It must have been Ireland versus Great Britain, and Ireland won that game. So Great Britain 8th, Ireland were 7th, Kenya finished 10th, South Africa finished 9th, and then the last two, I'm not actually too sure who won their game in the end. Yeah, the Warriors versus Tigers at the moment. They have got 16 minutes to go in the half, and I do see that it is 6-6. So a pretty close game between those two. Wait and see if they can get themselves their win. I haven't seen you cover many of the women's sevens games, just the final, said Studs Rays. Yeah, normally, like, the problem that we've got at the moment with the women's sevens, and, like, it's not like a massive deal breaker, but the fact that every final seems to end up being New Zealand, Australia, they go undefeated leading up to that stage. And with the exception of last competition where it was Brazil beating the Australians to then make it Fiji, New Zealand in the final, unfortunately, we've covered so many games like a few years ago, or not even a few, like maybe last year, where we did the women's games, and it was just, you don't get those upsets anymore in certain matches. New Zealand versus Canada would have been a great one to cover for the semis, but New Zealand won it about 41-0 or 42-0 or whatever it was. So you kind of lose not so much the excitement, like they're still entertaining games, but you want to have that feeling like you get with these certain matches. Like even Spain heading into this game, with some of their records recently up against New Zealand, they had a bit of a chance, if that makes sense. So it's not because I don't watch the women's sevens. I pretty much watch them in between the other live streams as well. It's just more so that it's become too predictable in terms of who's going to win them and get to that final. Like we always cover the final because New Zealand, Australia, it can go 50-50. There's a little bit of the unpredictable side of things. And one thing's for sure, whenever it's the final between them, they deliver, and they have a brilliant one. And fair one. It is fairly predictable at the moment. Ladies' final should be fire. Yeah, like they're always going to be competitive in the finals. And, sometimes you see Australia win by 10. Sometimes you see New Zealand win by 10. Sometimes we get right down to the wire. And that's where the fun of the sevens really comes in, when you don't know what's going to happen. But, yeah, so hopefully that makes sense, and it doesn't sound like I'm just not doing the women's sevens for the sake of it. Yeah, Australia and New Zealand just keep on dominating, and it's a bit rough. Our girls are crazy good, says Staccato. They are indeed, and Australia and New Zealand both have been brilliant in recent times. And it's good that it's at least those two sides going back and forth, rather than it just being one team dominating the whole way. And that's what's made this men's series so entertaining. The fact that everyone can beat anyone. We have got there, can you do T now? Says Broncos. Tigers versus Wales. I have got it on at the moment. I am keeping an eye on it, although it looks like it is absolutely bucketing down, which may affect the score. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 6-6 at halftime, or maybe one side might be able to sneak through and get themselves another one. Singapore Sevens, not a mile away from taking place, will be taking place next weekend, ladies and gents. But the sad thing about that is then after that leg, I think we have to wait about a month till we get to see the next leg again. So Singapore is the 5th and 6th of April, and then 3rd and 4th of May is going to be the LAX. What's the score? At the moment it is 6-6 in that game between the Wars and the Tigers. The end game score of this one was 24 points to 5. That was in favour of New Zealand. So coming back nicely after having maybe a bit of a lackluster... Well, I say lackluster, but it honestly wasn't terrible. Like, New Zealand, they should have won that game up against France. Well, you do State of Origin. We didn't last year. We did the year prior. The reason we didn't do it last year was because I knew I was going to be away on holiday for the last one, so I felt like if it was 1-1, it would be a bit rough not to finish it. But there's a chance that if it doesn't overlap with anything else, we might be able to squeeze in the State of Origin as well. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Overall, I don't mind chucking a little bit of NRL in it. Just if it's overlapping and we have to rearrange other ones, that's when it normally gets a little bit scrappy, I guess you could say. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. Next live stream is in an hour and 40-ish minutes time, and that will be the matchup between Fiji and Australia for the bronze medal final. Australia versus New Zealand. That will be the women's final taking place straight after, and then following that one will be Argentina versus France, and that will be the men's final. But nonetheless, do thank you all very much for tuning in. I will see you all for the